First, prepare 2 chicken breasts and pat them dry with paper towels. Next, slice the chicken breast into pieces, about 2 centimeters thick. Cut gently and evenly. No need to apply too much pressure. I usually try to cut the pieces relatively evenly, so that when fried, the meat cooks evenly and looks a little more appealing. If a piece is slightly uneven, it's okay. The kitchen is a place to relax. As always, welcome to my video. I hope you have a relaxing and satisfying time with today's recipe. After prepping, I move on to my favorite step, pan frying the chicken breast. This is when the kitchen really starts to smell delicious. I turn the stove to medium heat and preheat the pan for about 1 to 2 minutes. When the pan is hot enough, I add a little olive oil and a small piece of butter. If you are watching your weight, you can reduce the amount of butter or just use olive oil. The dish will still be delicious. Next, I gently place each piece of chicken in the pan, arranging them neatly so that each piece has good contact with the pan surface. For me, cooking is not only about taste, but also about feeling a little meticulous in every small detail, although, to be honest, I'm quite clumsy when trying to make everything look pretty. Once the chicken is settled in the pan, I sprinkle a moderate amount of salt and pepper over the surface. You don't need to season too heavily, as the sauce will help balance the flavors later. I usually let each side cook for about 3-4 minutes, without flipping too soon. When the edges of the meat start to turn golden brown with a slight char, that's a very good sign. A properly pan-seared chicken breast will have a slightly charred golden exterior, but remain tender and moist inside. Once both sides are evenly golden, I transfer the chicken to a plate and set it aside. Don't worry if you see small brown bits left on the pan. These are the flavor treasures for the sauce in the next step. Now we come to the real soul of the dish, the cream sauce. Personally, I always believe that whether a chicken breast dish is delicious or not depends largely on this sauce. I need to prepare 1 finely chopped onion, 3 finely minced garlic cloves, half a bell pepper, diced. I like to add bell pepper because it makes the dish more colourful and also adds fibre and vitamins, especially suitable if you are eating healthily. Everything is ready. I turn on the stove again. I still use the same pan I just fried the chicken in. Don't wash it. The brown bits left on the bottom of the pan are a very valuable layer of flavour. I add a small piece of butter. When the butter melts, I add the onions and sauté them first. Stir constantly until the onions begin to turn translucent and slightly brown around the edges. The aroma at this point is really pleasant, a natural sweetness. Next, I add minced garlic and stir quickly for about 20-30 seconds. Garlic burns easily, so remember to stir constantly for me, just until it becomes fragrant. Then, I add bell peppers to stir-fry together. A delicious dish that is still nutritionally balanced always makes me feel more at ease. If this is your first time watching my video, please subscribe to the channel so we can connect for longer. Thank you for your support. When the vegetables are tender, I add 1-2 tablespoons of flour. Stir well to coat the vegetables with the flour. This step looks simple, but is very important, as the flour will help the sauce thicken naturally without becoming watery. Next, I slowly pour in about 200 milliliters of chicken broth. Stir while pouring to avoid lumps. When the mixture begins to blend, I add 200 milliliters of fresh cream. At this point, the sauce turns a beautiful creamy white color. I add a little salt and pepper to balance the flavor. You can taste it and adjust it to your liking. I usually like it moderately seasoned, not too salty, so I can still taste the natural sweetness of the vegetables. Finally, I lower the heat and let the sauce simmer. After just a few minutes, you'll see the sauce begin to thicken, becoming smooth and rich. This is my favorite moment, when all the ingredients gradually blend together, creating a creamy sauce, ready to envelop the golden, fragrant chicken breasts from the previous step. Now we return to the saucepan, simmering on the stove. When the sauce has reached the desired consistency, smooth, slightly thick, and glossy, I add all the pan-fried chicken back into the pan. This is my favorite moment, as everything comes together. Then, I reduce the heat and simmer for another 3 to 4 minutes to allow the flavors to fully permeate the meat. This step helps the chicken become more tender and blend with the sauce, rather than sitting separately as it did when first pan-fried. Finally, I sprinkle a little chopped parsley. It's just a small detail, but it makes the dish look fresher and more vibrant. If you balance the amount of potatoes, sauce, and don't overdo the cream, this can totally be a healthy weight loss meal. Enough protein from the chicken breast, good carbs from the baked potatoes, and moderate fat from the cream sauce. If you find this recipe helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Your support is a huge motivation for me to continue sharing more delicious and balanced recipes. See you in the next videos, and I hope you enjoy a truly satisfying meal.